digital ID scheme is essentially a secure method of being able to authenticate and verify the identity of the person who's come online. Now, the means of doing that can vary. It could be a biometric identification where your fingerprint or your iris actually helps authenticate who you are, or it could be a secure and encrypted passcode of some kind which allows you to do that. But the idea is that it's just that one method of verification that you really need to control and track. And that really allows you to access a whole range of services. And it has power because a kind of ecosystem emerges around it, an ecosystem of users, let's say companies or businesses, companies, and government services who actually recognize that form of identification and then start offering services to people who can authenticate themselves using that.
Welcome back to another episode of your Digit Hustle News. And guys, the topic of discussion in this video is DigiByte, yes. And it is also digital identification. The driving motivation of this story is the news that comes from Atom ID, one of DigiByte's partners. They have now added Microsoft Azure, which is from my understanding, because I've actually heard of this system in real life, it is employee identification system, user identification system technology that Microsoft has been using for years now. Okay. Now we are in the age of blockchain. We are in the age of crypto technology, and they've decided to bring in DigiByte and Atom ID to help bring their Azure identification system to the blockchain. Now, why is that important? And why, as I did more digging on this subject, did this news to me seem like the most bullish news of the year for DigiByte? Okay. Before we go any further, there's some shouts out in order. Script Skynet. Okay. This video was in part inspired by a live stream that they had last night on DigiByte. Make sure y'all go check him out. He's very knowledgeable in the DigiByte space. It was a very informative stream, and it really got the idea rolling for what I wanted to give to you guys today, because there's some very important pieces to this puzzle, guys. And DigiByte is involved with something that is going to take DigiByte past the moon, Mars, Pluto, maybe, okay, when it wants to be a planet. But to emphasize on what I'm talking about, guys, digital identification is something that has been around for a while now, okay? Also, it is one of the underlying narratives throughout this whole pandemic, okay? Yes, the pandemic is causing everyone to be at home. So they are spending more money on things like Walmart's, Amazon's, streaming services, this, that, and the third. Also, gaming has seen a spike. We see cryptocurrencies are their focus because money is apparently supposed to be a transmitter of one of the of one of the strains. So they're saying. But basically, guys, one of the underlying narratives is the transition from contact to a contactless society, and that includes digital identification. Now, there is another company that has been active in digital ID, and that is Ripple, also known as XRP. Okay, they have been involved with digital ID. You may know it as Pay ID. Mr. Garlinghouse has been an advocate for it for quite some time. Okay, digital ID is something that no one is talking about, but it is going to be a very, very large part of our future, guys, when we go into this next economy. And for DigiByte to be on board with Microsoft. Okay, that Microsoft, if you don't know, guys, Mr. Bill Gates and his lovely foundation, they have invested over $4.3 million. This was a year or so ago. Surely that number has increased, but they have invested millions of dollars into a research and development project designed to make new national digital IDs secure and private. This is coming out globally, guys. Okay, so the fact that Microsoft Azure is their core identification system, they plan on building a global identification system. They chose Digibyte's blockchain, Atom, to do such. If no one was talking about Digibyte before, I can guarantee you they will be by the end of 2021. Okay, that's so one of you guys came at me in the comments asking me for a prediction. Let's just throw something in the dark. End of 21, I think I said 50 cents. That was before I discovered this. End of 21, Digibyte, $1, maybe $2. Maybe $2. We don't know how these things work, but before, guys, we were in the age of speculation, but I think we are getting closer and closer to the age of practicality, use case, and adoption. Digibyte partnering with Microsoft on this Azure technology that is used already to identify employees and other Microsoft users. If you have a Windows operating system, you're connected to this already. Okay, so Digibyte getting on board with this, Microsoft. Trust me, guys, names matter, partnerships matter, relationships matter. And to me, this is huge for Digibyte. Now, this is something that you will not hear about anywhere else, guys. ID 2020. ID 2020. This, since 2016, just going to read this for you. Since 2016, ID 2020 has advocated for the ethical, privacy protecting approaches to digital ID. Since 2016, guys. For 1 in 7 people globally who lack means to prove their identity, digital ID offers access to vital social services and enables them to exercise their rights as citizens and voters and participate in the modern economy. But going digital ID right means protecting civil liberties and putting control over personal data back where it belongs, in the hands of the individual. Every day we rely on a variety of forms of identification to go about our lives: driver's licenses, passports, work badges, building access cards, debits, credits, transits, and more. But technology is evolving at a blinding pace, and many of the transactions that require ID today are being conducted digitally. From passports to digital wallets, online banking to social media, these are the new forms of ID that will allow us to travel, conduct business, access financial and health records, stay connected, and much more. While the move to digital ID has many positive effects, it has been accompanied by countless challenges and setbacks, including large-scale data breaches affecting millions of people. Most of the current tools are archaic, secure, and lack appropriate privacy protections and commoditize our data. But that's about to change, and ID 2020 is leading the charge. I wouldn't be surprised if sometime around this spring, guys, you start hearing this term, ID 2020. And when that happens, expect all of this to come to fruition and expect the Digibyte bull run to begin. But guys, that's all I have for this video. Just wanted to connect the dots on some things and do what I do best, share news on cryptocurrency adoption. And guys, this is it. This is cryptocurrency adoption. But as always, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Get down at me in the comment section. And as always, have a great day. Amazing day. Prosperous day. And I'll see y'all in the next video.